AI can accelerate, but it cannot restore a workforce running on exhaustion. The next leadership advantage may not be working faster, it may be sustaining the human energy required to lead. So let's welcome everyone to Preeminent Conclave. Today, global engagement has fallen by 20%, and even as AI acceleration output and reshapes work. Today, we have Shilpa. Let's bring her onto the topic and dive into the topic. Bring her to the podcast and dive into the topic. Hi, Shilpa. Welcome to our podcast. How are you today?
Hi, Prem. I am good. Thank you for having me here. It's great, and I'm super glad to be here.
So, about Shilpa, she is a preventive health enthusiast, a nutrition, and advocating practical fitness for working professionals is what I know about Shilpa. Shilpa, a small introduction about yourself will help the audience to understand you better.
Absolutely. So, I am Shilpa, and I am a big fan of nutrition and health. I believe in health is wealth, and I think prevention is better than cure. So, I've learned it the hard way. So, yeah, I'll come to that sometime later. But yeah, you need to have health, good health, and then be there to talk about everything else. So, uh, I feel you are what you eat. So, nutrition is most important, and that follows the health. And so I advocate a lot about that. And I am still a learner. I continue to learn about nutrition and preventive health and everything about health. And that's about me. Besides having had a good stint of 15, 16 years in the IT as well.
Thank you for that, Shilpa. Welcome to our podcast audience. Thank you for joining. Let's start with why has employee well-being moved from being a personal lifestyle matter to or a HR benefit to becoming a strategic leadership advantage?
Wow, I love this question. That has become a strategic importance because it's no longer a personal lifestyle, right?
Mm,
You have to be performing when you are there in an organization because that's
correct.
where you get your incentives, your variable pay, right? So you need to show your performance. And for that, you need to have your health.
Yeah.
And that is not just a personal lifestyle anymore. It's not an HR benefit.
Mm,
And if you are doing that right, everything else follows. I have learned it the hard way, I would say. Few years ago, I had a bad back. I fell sick. I couldn't get up off my bed. It's a very hard lesson that I learned. So that kind of put me under a structured recovery program that taught me something that no corporate or any wellness deck that a corporate organization would show us would give me. And that's how I learned all of it. And now, yeah, that's the whole thing about health, right? You can't just uh, say, okay, it's a HR benefit. Let's go ahead about it. Let's talk about it. Let's do a challenge for a month and then we know that it doesn't work that way anymore. So yeah, it has to come from top down. It's not going to be just an employee engagement DEI project now. It
mm,
has to be a strategic step that leadership brings in and follows as well.
got it. Now, we are in an era where AI is ruling everywhere and it is powered most of the workspaces today. Now,
Yeah.
with that, what has changed in the AI powered workspace that makes physical energy, emotional stability, and cognitive recovery more important to leadership?
So AI has definitely come into our workspaces, encroached everywhere, even our personal lives, and made things faster for us, right? And if you see any organization, they say we are working on speed. That matters. Speed matters. How fast we, go to market. That matters more. But then recovery and nutrition and health and well-being, everything has taken a back seat. That's because what has happened is AI has come in. It has given us extra time, but those extra time has been filled with more meetings and more work, and it has only encroached into our spaces where it's not allowing us to recover
mm,
and not come back to our natural self and be able to focus and give back to the organization or to the job that we are doing. So I feel it has taken away a little bit of focus, it has taken away a little bit of uh, our recovery time or our engagement time with ourselves, the me time, I would say, that
mm.
is not there anymore.
Okay, so it has what I would look at what you are saying is today there is something that we are doing consciously or unconsciously. That's
Yeah,
the way we are getting into understanding and learning from whatever is there. And these tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and other tools
yeah,
have taken us more into addiction than the WhatsApp addiction that we had earlier, or the Facebook addiction that we had earlier, or
yeah.
prior to that, the Orkut addiction that we had. Today,
So true.
we are glued into Chat GPT all the time. There's one window which is always there in Chat GPT, Gemini, or anything where we
Yeah,
search. It gives you 100 options today. Chat Gem. Now you search in Google itself, you'll find one AI search also telling you, one the regular search telling you something, and the AI
yeah.
search also says something which Gemini is doing something. So I think it's gone into a stage where without having AI, we are not living anything. Now you go to a mall, you are enabled with AI cameras. You go into theaters, your AI enabled scanning happens, right? And
Yeah.
even the cybersecurity side, if you look at AI, is gone into threat modeling, incident management, many other places where
Yeah.
everywhere you see this AI being. Now, how do poor well-being, sustained stress, and inadequate recovery affect judgment, communication, creative, and decision quality in this world where we are completely glued with AI? How is that going to look at Shilpa?
Okay. We need to first understand this that well-being, poor well-being or poor health does not just show up in our body, right? It shows up in our behavior. Has it been? I know for a fact that most of us in the audience as well, probably parents or siblings, the first thing that we do is shoo away people when they are asking us something. We are irritated quickly, right? And
Mm,
when we are stressed with no recovery, we get reactive. We are not thoughtful. The patience is the first thing that goes. Then we can't hear anything. We can't listen. We are just listening to something. There's some white background noise happening, but we are not listening to anybody. I don't know how many of you are listening, but I would urge you to listen to this podcast. But every simple decision, right, it starts to feel very heavy, and it
mm,
rarely is a capability problem. It's more like a mental fatigue, right? You are making decisions constantly because there is so much happening around you, so much noise, so much chaos. And that's like making it's not, people can't just avoid any mistakes. They are going to end up making mistakes, and the communication takes the brunt of it. It's more transactional. You just talk, hi, hello, how are you? Okay, have you done this job? Have you done this task? Let's complete the Jira ticket one, two, three. Let's go to the next level. Let's finish this conversation, this meeting, A, B, C. But an exhausted mind doesn't just make poor decisions or slow decisions, it makes poorer decisions, right? So that's where I feel we are going with all this.
okay, got it. Now, what business signals should alert leaders that workforce exhaustion is becoming a performance, retention, and resilient risk? Because we see all this happening in today.
Yeah.
So, what
Yeah.
your take on
Okay, I feel that leaders should not wait for someone to resign to know that something's gone wrong. The signs start coming very early in a team, right? I've seen this happen when I was working in my team as well.
it? Okay.
The certain simple decisions that an individual can take while performing their own work or their own autonomous task, they are not able to take those decisions. There are silly mistakes that we call, right, that just creeps in. And and the meeting participation drops. And when I say meeting participation, it's not like they are not part of the meeting. They are part of the meeting, but they are not interactive in the meeting. You need to urge them, pull them up, put them on a spotlight to get a word or two out of them. They are the most dependable ones are the ones that go quiet, right? Completely quiet. And you see them, they are either burnt out or they have lost track of what's happening. And you will see a lot of sick leaves. That's like a biggie, right? That's a complete giveaway. Sick leave. Every now and then you will see, oh, I saw this person on the team. How come she's on sick leave? She was there on sick leave day before also, but then that happens, right? Because of this. And people rarely burn out because they care too little. They it happens because they've cared too much, far too much for a very long period of time, and that there's no enough recovery for them. Yeah,
Mm.
I will like to probably quote a small a data, I would say. I just researched a little for this. Gallup's 2026 number, I'm reading it out from my notes,
Okay.
actually backs this up. It's a global engagement. It says global engagement fell to about 20%, but manager engagement in South Asia, mostly India, dropped by 8 points, the steepest regional decline anywhere. And that's not a coincidence. And I agree to this. Why? Because I have had my own managers that I used to report or senior managers who would go back to back meetings the entire day. I would wonder how they sustain, how can they even focus and say what is that they are supposed to say in the meeting. I understand you might have hundreds of notes written down, but that still doesn't justify how you can stay focused, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I think what we are also seeing as an organization is well-being as an organization capacity is not merely comfort or
yeah,
happiness or access to well-being benefits. We should look
correct.
at influences, right? Well-being influences. What we should look at. Maybe a
Yeah,
decision quality, as you rightly said some time back, where you said more number of meetings, but how much is the concentration that is happening there?
correct.
The attention span and concentration go for us. I think the Google search for a person to be uh, attentive to any topic is about 18 seconds, which
That's
is
true.
that's with reels coming in. I think the attention span is gone much more. I don't like a reel, I scroll. So I just
Yeah,
scroll. So we've seen lot of attention deficiency that we are seeing of late, and there is nothing attached as an emotion to look at. It is just whether you like it, take it, otherwise leave it, kind of a
yeah,
situation that we are in today. And that collaboration, I will take one example here, Shilpa, is when we were, I'm talking about pre-COVID. This all we see after COVID is what I see, because
yeah,
pre-COVID we were part of large teams, right? And we used to sit and talk. A coffee conversation would become a different conversation once we were able to solve a problem. Okay, and a
true.
small lunch break together, not discussing office, also used to be so much nice, right? And today
Yeah,
you are on hundreds of Zoom calls. We don't know what is running in my head. Even this podcast, if you really look at, when we do virtual, there's a lot of difference when you do virtual versus physical, right?
true. Yeah,
Where I see you face to face, I can feel what you feel, I can see the light on you, I can feel the environment there, and there's a
yeah,
lot of difference when we do offline. But when we do online, the only challenge that I see is that connect is limited to the time that we are spent. After that, it does not make much an impact. But whereas when you have a personal connection, there's a lot of synergies that come into, also
absolutely.
we also think in creative problem solving. We don't look at one path, we look at multiple paths, because there are multiple dimensions each problem is getting discussed also, right? So
True.
what could be one of the potential warnings is increase errors because we are not concentrating. That's the first point. And then I think more of rework also is happening because of the
Oh, that's a lot. The
Yeah.
amount of feedback that comes in because of a simple error that has happened, which couldn't have happened if there was enough recovery and focus, that you keep doing it, you introduce errors
Yeah.
while correcting it. And that again keeps coming back. And by the time the work gets over, it might as well have taken probably a week, which could have been done in a day.
No, I was part of some large implementations where they used to do code deployments, right? So
Yeah.
when we did code deployments, we used to say that this was checked in last build. Okay, now
Yeah.
I'm not seeing that. The challenge that we were thinking is you have taken a code of version 1 at 6 o'clock, whereas I have updated version 1 at 7 o'clock again,
Yeah.
which does not happen. So people are getting into that kind of a mode today, and there is lot of gaps that well-being should not be presented as an employee's responsibility alone, because work designs, clarity, autonomy, leadership
Yeah.
behavior, staff and organization cultures also are influences for healthy habits and realistic sustainability, right? So that's the
Absolutely.
point that we want to look at. Well-being is no longer a separate from performance. It
Not at all.
determines how long performance can be sustained. That's the point that I would like to say. Coming to our next point is AI genuinely reducing burnout, or it's simply enabling organizations to place more work, speed, expectations on already stretched employees? What is your take on this, Shilpa?
Huh. That's an interesting question. And I think it's pretty much there on everybody's mind now. AI isn't actually causing burnout, and it is automatically not solving it either. The
Okay.
outcome completely depends on the leaders and how they use it.
Hmm.
So these days, with AI, leaders are also overwhelmed with a lot of decisions that they have to make because at the end of the day, they also do not have enough recovery. They are not taking care of their health. So decisions are getting affected at that level as well.
Yeah.
But if AI saves time, it doesn't get or it shouldn't automatically get filled with more meetings or higher targets or have it shouldn't just reduce the burnout automatically that way, right? But if the team is running already on something that has been culturally fixed into that team where they are burning out every quarter or every cycle, then that will continue irrespective of AI has come or not, or AI has been adopted or not, because that eventually gets replaced with more work, more tasks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, if leaders instead use AI as a more, to remove repetitive work and give more space to real focus time and recovery space, it genuinely helps both productivity and well-being. So the real question I would say is not AI reducing burnout. It's what are we doing with that time that AI has given back to us? Because that's the leadership choice, not a technology outcome.
No, I think we are seeing a lot of technology related enhancements when we look at using AI. But
Yeah,
what exactly has to happen is the technology which has enhanced also should reduce the burnout, which I think is not
correct.
happening, right? And
No,
it
yeah,
is increasing more works because, as we discussed some time back, one code is checked in, the other is not checked in. Now you bring it to the production, then you are bringing and saying that we had checked in. What time? Again, there is a repetitive work that is happening. And then we
yeah,
run back and say, oh, this code is checked in and I pulled this. There's a redeployment happening, right? And those are the challenges that we see when AI comes in. I think that's the challenge that I see. Now, when AI saves time, how can leaders prevent that capacity from being immediately consumed by additional meetings, tasks, and performance pressures? This is what we've started with. Let's go a little deeper on it, Shilpa, if we can.
absolutely, definitely. And I would completely back on this because it should be very intentional, right? Leaders should be more intentional about the time they have saved because of all the time that AI creates for the team and for themselves. Every saved hour should not get replaced with another task or another meeting and feel that there is no progress happening, right?
Mm.
Instead, what's the best use of that extra time, extra capacity that has come? Maybe deeper focus time, learning, or have a better collaboration, like you said. Call for a meeting where you are not a meeting, probably just catch up with somebody. Maybe just call them and talk to them if you are working remotely, or just go to the office and collaborate with a different team. You never know what turns up, or even simply give a breathing room because you are working very intensely day in and day out, right? You have so many things that you are focused on. So just give more breathing time for yourself. Give yourself the time to recoup. Maybe switch off, log off, disconnect from the system and take time for yourself. Maybe you need not even connect to the family members or friends. Just that recovery time itself, that mental overload, if it comes down itself, is a big thing. But even for leaders, that I'm not just talking about the employees here, but leaders who are the main decision makers here, they are the ones who should do all that, and very religiously, intentionally, I would say. And productivity is not never about filling in every minute of the day or every minute of the work time. So it's more about giving that creative space and thinking that they can do this. So AI time save should not be measured. It should be measured with the value it creates.
Yeah, I think the more the meetings, the more tasks get added, right? And when we look at the tasks, I've seen people where they've come to a meeting, okay, they're already thinking about the next meeting, forgetting that they are.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
so happens that they want to prepare for the next meeting rather than fix what is there happening in this meeting.
But this
And
reminds me also, Prem, that there was once we were in a meeting, we were talking, and then we were trying out a new AI tool, and we got a task added to our list of tasks saying explore this AI tool and see the pros and cons of it. So that became another task
yeah,
for us because the tool saved time, but we had to go ahead and do that. Also got added as another extra task for us.
yeah.
So
No, the biggest challenge that I see today is testing those tools before we move to
yeah,
production.
yeah,
That we do it on a data which is not production, and we want to look at a production grade clarity on the tool that we are using. See, I
true,
think what we were discussing yesterday also was that we had decided. I think I'll bring up that point. Let me tell you what we spoke about yesterday. It was more from deception intelligence, right? So, how is that we were talking yesterday's topic was very very interesting because today organizations are saying they have environments which are deceptive intelligent environments which they want to test where how it can be penetrated. They use the real data, but the real data is not the production data, right? And they have how do I say this? How did I
the
say?
training data, you could
Yeah,
say.
it's not a training data. It's the production
Okay.
data. But
Mhm.
it is not going if there is an issue that happens, it's not going to affect the production, right? Because
Okay. Mhm.
people see when you use AI, even the hunter who is going to hunt you down or attacker is also using AI. We are also using AI to defend it also.
Right.
The guy who is going to attack us has far better tools than the people we are trying to prevent because we want to prevent an one environment. That guy is trying on 100 environments, right? So he has faster techniques. He has faster than it. Most of the time is funded activities, right?
True.
Those become when there is a funded activity that is happening, then there is a challenge that we see when we get into having some of the AI versus AI kind of a scenario. And that also brings out burnout because I have to learn this tool, implement, then rectify. So there's a
True.
cycle to it, right? Now,
Absolutely.
could increased dependency on AI reduce human connection, reflection, and meaningful collaboration even while improving individual productivity? That's what we spoke about, right? Learn, then go implement. That by the time something else also is changed, right? So
So true.
you have to take on it.
Yeah, I agree to that. And yes, to an extent, if we are not deliberate about human connection, it definitely affects. I'll like to bring a small example here that happened with me and my colleague. Okay, so we both use a lot of Claude and Claude Code while working, and it so happened that that person was so involved in doing certain tasks using Claude that in the meeting that person forgot what that person was telling us and went completely quiet. And I'm like, "Are you there?" And then he came back after a couple of seconds saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot I was in a meeting. I was talking to Claude." So the human connection completely goes off for sure if you are not deliberate about it. It's great at summarizing. It's great at speed. Leadership is built through, but leadership or human connection, everything is built with through conversations,
Yeah,
through trust, through empathy and shared experiences. Like you said, go on a lunch and you're having a conversation. It doesn't need to be a work conversation, but still you are building some kind of a rapport, some kind of a trust and empathy there. So that is very difficult for an AI tool to replicate for sure. But some of the best ideas I have seen for myself and within my work environment as well have never come out of a tool, but it has come out from people only. So,
mm,
yeah, I think that's where the challenge is now to reduce that use of AI where it is not required to make the decisions for us, but use it as a tool alone.
now when I coming to that point, when we see this kind of burnout, uh, what principle should guide leaders in deciding whether AI should remove friction and where human interaction must be deliberately protected?
Simple, right? Let the machine do its job and let human do their job. So AI is good. AI with its machine, let it do its work. Humans should do what humans actually should do, talk, interact, have fun time, brainstorm, come up with ideas. Tools are there to implement, to, execute these stuff. But automating repetitive, administrative, data heavy tasks will reduce that kind of workload on us. But coaching, feedback, hard decisions that are not so easy and supporting someone who's going through some struggle, that's human, that should stay human and that will stay human, and that's very important, right? I uh, recently had a crisis in the family and lost someone,
Mm,
and even during that time everybody in the team were so supportive, and that's the human connection. I don't think a Claude or a GPT could do that for me. So people, that's how the friction has to reduce with the human. But if people are leaving organizations, then it's not a report that took longer, it's because they didn't feel they were heard. So use of AI is to create more time for human leadership, not
mm.
less. So that's where human frictions become less, and AI frictions become less.
Got it. Now, coming to the next pointer that I want to add while we were seeing is we AI can reduce repetitive work, improve preparation, and create time for higher value activities. Our well-being improves only when you save time and reinvest intentionally, right? So it is
Yeah,
more that you should do that. Now, what could be the possible positive uses like reduce administrative work, right? That could be one of the point.
yeah,
Summarizing information. This can be done by
yeah,
AI. You don't need to sit and
correct.
summarize, look at the video or look at the recording and then talk about do it. Give AI to do that work. It will summarize precisely. And there are a lot of note takers today. And
True.
they take those notes and they say this is the timelines that was agreed by Mr. X. This is why because these are the five people who were in the meeting and all those things can be done today. And we've been talking about repetitive task automation. if you see, there
yeah,
is some, we've done a lot of repetitive tasks automation using AI, right? Now, that can be done much more enhanced to see what else can be automated. That could be one way of looking at, right, with AI use. Now, what could be the potential risks that will come is, because we are delivering faster using AI tools, the expectations rise, right?
yes,
That's the
yeah,
first point. The second point,
true,
you always start looking, oh, that guy did this today. How much did he spend time on this? What is his productive hours? Has he covered 8 hours? So that becomes another constant monitoring and performance comparison. That becomes another
correct,
challenge, right? After the
yeah,
COVID period, at least many of the people are always glued to the system when they are at home,
true,
immaterial of time, and there is no boundary to it today. That is the biggest problem that we see today, where
yeah,
well-being is not at all considered. And
yeah,
we don't converse, as you rightly said. Yeah, you take this, go, that issue is sorted, take this,
yeah,
go, finish. I finished this task, I finished this. Now you look at 100 tasks, but actually what is was the productive task? You avoided most of things. You avoided conversations, you avoided listening, you avoided exercising, you avoided one-to-one conversations which were there on over a coffee or anything. Now you want to take a coffee, take the coffee, give it, and then run again, start doing something. So that is
yeah,
how we are seeing today. And uh, Workday's 2026 Human Connection Workplace Index found that 62% of surveyed AI users said their stress or burnout risk has decreased, right? While 86% felt more productive. However, 33% said they rarely or never had conversation with their colleagues beyond transactional work, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
one in five Gen Zs reported feeling lonelier after AI entered their workspace. This is a study that is there done by Workday. This is just a point that I wanted to bring it up. I think
yeah.
that's the when AI may remove work from calendar without removing pressure from the culture. That's what I will say. Now, coming to the next point, what practical role do nutrition, movement, sleep, and recovery play in helping working professionals lead with greater consistency and resilience?
First of all, these four that you mentioned, nutrition, movement, sleep, and recovery, are not a wellness side project. It's a leadership's foundation. That's where leadership has to set. It's the foundation for them. Uh, this one is more personal and not theoretical. When I went through my own disc injury some time ago,
Hmm.
I was so immobile for a month. No sitting, no standing, and no normal movement. I had to be very careful about everything and rebuilding from there, and with a structured program for wellness. So it showed me that everything has to be disciplined with proper nutrition, proper sleep, and gradual movement, and all that is very significant. Of course, I did lose a little bit of weight in that process, but the bigger shift was that I stopped second guessing about my own health. I started making decisions from actual knowledge and how my body was working. I was not thinking that, okay, let's get done with this. I'll think about my body later. That
Hmm.
experience is the reason I eventually have been thinking about a podcast also about it. Health is wealth, it is called again. But like you rightly said, this back to the leaders, if I could bring it back to the same point. Skipping meals, right? Skipping sleep. I worked till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the night. I slept at 4 o'clock. I woke up at 6 o'clock just to finish this work. I'm sitting all through the day. I have had my own colleagues, friends, why even I have done that in the past, where sitting for longer hours, just eat at your workstation, do nothing, and I don't know if I could say this, but there was a friend of mine, and that person would say, I haven't had bath for last 3 days because I was working continuously, running on stress. It's hard to stay focused, right? It's not about being clean or hygiene. That also is part of it, but you can't regulate any emotion. You cannot decide well with that kind of continuous stress. It's consistent. But if you are not taking any measures to correct those with simple measures, like take a break, it is important. You are making it a habit that you are deliberately getting up every 1 hour once, or every five hour, every half an hour once, or drink a little bit of water every now and then. Those simple ones are very important. And balanced meal, we don't know what we are eating these days. We have phone, we have laptop, we have TV, we have iPad, we have everything running at the same time, so much content happening all at the same time, and we are eating, we don't know what we are eating. So balanced meal is so important. Regular moving, even if you're walking for like 10-15 minutes, I don't see people doing that, and they say I walked for 5 minutes, my leg pains. Literally, they say that, and that's so saddening to see it. And there is no recovery because they don't sleep. Where is the sleep? Sleep is so important. I don't see. They might come back with a lot of different schools of thought, but that is not the point. Your body needs rest, just like your computer needs rest. You can replace computer, you can't replace your body, unfortunately. For that, you need to sleep, you need to recover, you need you don't need a proper fitness plan or go to gym, pay that 20, 30, 50K per year and join a gym and say, okay, I will be going to gym. No, that doesn't work. You need to know how your fitness works into your everyday lifestyle. That matters.
No, I
So,
think
best, yeah,
I think when you said gym, I have taken the membership. Okay, last 15 days I'm not able to go.
exactly. See,
See,
that's an effort you need to put in, right?
yeah,
You say,
you
okay,
need to
I
put
will have to
your
go
time.
that far.
Yeah, no, no, it's not the question of far. Also, it's not even a kilometer for me to go. The point is, we get so boggled with it. We'll finish this and then go. We'll finish tomorrow. We'll go. This
Yeah,
whole 10 days, there's something that we are doing, and we are not finding time to go and do something personally for ourselves. That's the kind
correct.
of work that we are trying to see. And with that, why do professionally? I have one pointer, but I want to take it from you. Why do
Mhm.
professionals frequently sacrifice basic health habits? First, when workload, travel, deadlines, and leadership responsibilities increase.
Yes. It's default, no, for us, because that's how we have seen our parents do. We follow the suit. It's like urgent over important. Somebody said it is urgent because that is very important. You see a mail that says urgent, needed
Yeah.
ASAP. ASAP is no more as soon as possible. It's urgent. Happens to be immediate. So deadlines and meetings have immediate consequences. Skipping meal will not have it, but it will have its own moment. So
Mm,
I have done this myself, skipping meals, eating randomly, midnight snacking, which is not good. I do that. I have done that also, but and I've told that, okay, I'll come back to my health later. Those weren't time saving decisions. Those were energy draining decisions because I thought my work was important and that was very urgent. I needed to finish it. I never thought my health was something that I had to give that 5 minutes to it because it needed all 5 minutes. But we don't neglect our health because we don't value it. We uh, we tell ourselves we'll come back to it later, and that later, like you said, 15 days, it hasn't come back. So that's what happens.
I think that's a very, very important point that we are missing nowadays. Is what I see is we take it things very lightly. That's the
Yeah,
bigger challenge that we are seeing off late because everybody wants to finish their work. They want to move around and get things moving, but they basically look at 1 hour, maybe half an hour we should go and do. 10 minutes at least can make a difference. That's the point that I think we should look. Speakers can, I think, minimum viable well-being system is what I think we should look at and
yeah,
build around a consistency rather than perfection. We It's the same case with me as well. So we want to do something perfect, add
Yeah,
few things. Let's get this thing done. Today, if I add this, it will look perfect. But after that perfect, you'll find something imperfect.
correct.
So I was reading to Bob Proctor's. This is not related to well-being, but
Mhm.
people he says, now you want to eliminate something, you cut off something. Say you'll cut off. Now if you want to eliminate the left side, you cut left side, but you are forgetting that you are cutting the right side also. The end, when you see, you'll have nothing. You cannot
Correct.
cut. Then you say this is the correct left over. No, it is not. You are cutting the right also,
Correct.
which you are not knowing, and it is reducing and shrinking. So it's a very
Absolutely.
important point where we should have a regular and balanced meals also. If you are having at same
Absolutely.
time one time, maybe there are people who do one time meal a day, right? And
Yeah.
people look at, I am one like that. I have one meal a day. Okay. I have my breakfast or fruits in the morning around between 8:30 to 10:30. I'll have my fruits thing. But suggested is before 10. So I somewhere I'm making that half an hour, but I ensure that I have something. And my dinner is between 12:30 to 6:30. After that, you should not have dinner. So that is the practice that I have. That one mistake that I have is you should have adequate hydration, which I'm not doing. So I've kept a bottle on my table whenever I find I keep a taking. That is one thing that I think. Planned movement in a day, because people sit in one place for hours, which is not good also, is what I understand. And you need to move every 20 minutes out. In when I was part of Wipro as a large organization, there were few pointers which they used to say was that don't sit more than 20 minutes. Take your eyes off the screen, like looking at this side or that side, at least after 10 minutes rather than constantly looking on it. These are few things that they told us, and we practice that very often. And what is the what we should also look at common professional patterns such as skipping meals,
Yeah.
overeating also at sometimes. That is
Oh,
one other
yes.
big thing. And depending on caffeine, people are dependent on caffeine. Morning they should have that coffee, otherwise they
Yeah.
cannot start the day, right? So there are certain things. I think this is again WHO reports that I'm reading it again. This is one of the trend that I have.
Yeah.
WHO reports that approximately 31% of adults worldwide, about 1.8 billion people, do not meet recommend physical activity levels at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Recommended physical levels they don't meet at all. India's WHO report says physical activity profile estimated adult physical activity is only at 49.4%.
Sure.
Jan 2027 WHS Healthy Diet Guidance emphasizes adequacy, balance, moderation, and diversity rather than restrictive or fashionable diet models. Right? So this is what WHO is saying. What I say when you look at strong well-being is the strongest well-being plan is not most extreme. It's one of the most that survives on demanding work week. You need to
Absolutely.
hydrate,
Completely.
you need to have that energy and strength to the body to perform. So those are the minimum things that a body is required, is what I understand. Now why
True.
do people, or why do many corporate well-being programs fail even when organizations provide like fitness challenges, counseling platforms, health applications, and awareness sessions?
Pretty simple, actually. They don't fail because they are bad or something. It's because they are trying to solve a systems problem, keeping individual solutions in mind, right? As an organization, there are fitness challenges, counseling sessions, or well-being apps, but and people are still expected to be available 24/7 at work for deadlines and everything. Why, even as a part of a DI and belong? DI initiative at my previous organization, I have led many such fitness and well-being challenges myself for the employees, and I've seen people drop out halfway through. They are not able to sustain, not because they cannot do it, because their work is more demanding, because the system for the organization is not set in that way where their workload is taken care of when they are trying to do something for themselves, where every app is there, every opportunity is there, but they are not able to take care because system is as such. A wellness app cannot fix a workload problem, right?
Yeah,
That has to be a top-down approach. Employees don't need more information. Everybody knows what well-being is. They know what to eat, what not to eat, what to do. But
and to add,
it's
if I can, sorry,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
today
Go ahead.
people know in such a way that how much carbs they have to eat, which
Yeah,
calories they have to eat, how much they have to burn, what is their body mass index, all those things they know. And today you don't need an awareness session from an organization, because
yeah,
most of the apps like your Apple Watch or your
yeah.
other things tell you the pointers where you are having this kind of deficiency, that kind of a deficiency, your walk pattern is slow. All these things are being tracked and monitored very well today, and people know it very well. So,
Absolutely. And so, keeping that in line, see, I wear a ring to take care of to monitor myself. But that said, like you said, with all that in place, if the work environment is not realistic, how can anybody focus on themselves, right? If there is so much demand all the time. I had a colleague, uh, my senior manager's manager, who sits in the US, right? They called in my senior manager and said, I need this report. But they failed to say that they needed it by end of next day because they sit in the US. They know people work from India. So they can give that leeway of time, that leverage to complete the work their time. So we get that 20 hours of extra time.
mm,
That was failed to be clearly mentioned. That clarity was not there. And poor my colleague ended up sitting till 3 p.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to complete that report. Of course, laurels given, rewards given, recognition given, all that is fine. But what are they telling about it, right? That it's okay. Go ahead. You go ahead and work that long hours. I'll appreciate you. At the
mm,
same time, you'll have to take care of your health also.
yeah.
So where is that line? There is so much of blurriness in that line, and there is no clear clarity about it. That's a bigger concern, I would say.
I think you're apt in saying that, because we see people working around the clock and across the globe, supporting multiple geographies and regions, right? So that becomes a tool, especially when you see these call center guys. They
Oh
work
yes,
whole night. After few years, there, even if there is a holiday, they don't get sleep, because that's the pattern that they have got. And
yeah,
I also was part of a call center or a service provider. I did it for 2.8 years. After that, I could not take it. And I said, I'm not going to get into this call center or support structure. And then I moved out from there. Then I decided that anything between morning 8 to 10 is okay. Beyond that, I am not going to work on it. So the if it is 2 to 10 is fine. We finish it at 10 and we go. Maybe half an hour it will get extended, not beyond, right?
yeah.
But you are getting the 2 to 10 period. Morning you are still having that break of time that you can take, right? So otherwise, I've seen people working double shifts. They've
Oh
come
yes,
at 2
there,
o'clock. They're going morning 2 o'clock, 12, 13 hours of shifts. It does not make sense, right?
absolutely.
And with all these things happening also, what happens when organizations promote well-being while rewarding overwork, consistent availability, and unrealistic deadlines? We spoke a brief on it. This could be our
Yeah.
last question, because we are on top of the, yeah,
Okay, I
your
get
point.
it. Yeah, see, that's mixed signals. Like I was telling, there is a blur. People don't understand. They're getting rewarded. They're being appreciated for overworking. At the same time, they are being told, take care of your health. How can I take care of my health if I do not have the time to give for myself?
Yeah.
So eventually, the message is not sent properly and there is no clarity, and employees stop believing what is being told to them. That's when it becomes just a message on the poster wall
Mm.
and another forwarded message on probably internal messengers, but it's not a culture. It's a failure of the culture of the organization there. But I believe culture is built by what leaders consistently reward, not just what they communicate. So I would also mention one of my senior managers here from another organization. He would say, after 9:30, do not call me. I don't function. I can't give my inputs because
Mm.
I can't work effectively and efficiently. So he wouldn't take any meetings after 9:30 in the night. So we would function. That's the kind of leadership I would expect from anybody, right? It's not just from here. The kind of thought process he had, that he protected his time so religiously and intentionally that for him recovery was very important. And
Mm.
that's the takeaway I have, and that's the takeaway I want everyone to have here, that, your food, your balanced nutrition, your exercise, even if you do it for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day, and your recovery, your sleep, protect your sleep. And that does not mean sleep 10 hours on Saturday and Sunday and sleep 5 hours on weekdays. No, that is not healthy at all. I would say sleep 6 to 7 hours every day, and that's all you need to recover. So yeah, that's where I would
Yeah,
say.
that's a very important point, I think, which we see today. Uh, what we also see is we should look at the credibility gap between well-being messaging and employees' lived experience, right? So
Correct.
we
Yeah.
should look at that. Programs frequently underperform when workloads remain unmanageable. That's what you said that about.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Understaffing is normalized because that guy is not there. Can you help and get this work done because he's on leave today, and the work gets increased, right? And managers contact employees continuously outside work hours, which
Oh
we
yes,
yes,
that's a common thing. I think that's a bad example being set and normalized across the industry, and the industry being blamed because the decisions have been poorer. Like I said in the beginning itself, no recovery, poor decisions have been made already, and that has been carried on as a industry-wide norm now.
I was part of Wipro, as I told, right, in the start of the session. We had an escalation, and this guy, this was a hardware vendor, a big organization where we had taken the hardware, which is the servers and the storages and stuff. Uh, this guy was based in US, and we had a call. So we called that guy. We had about six VPs on a call. That kind of an escalation it was.
Okay.
Okay, and we were running business critical information, and we want the support of this OEM vendor. We called that guy, and call. He said, "My shift got over just now, and this is a Friday weekend. I don't work beyond this. Anything further, we will do it on Monday." And
Wow.
he dropped the call.
That's awesome. I would say that's the example we must all follow.
And we are saying critical support ends at business hours over. We waited for 2 days for one service to come up, and which costed a big thing for us. But when we went and found, that guy said, our professional services timing is mentioned in the contract. Please do look at it. Even if it is a critical thing, unless there is a real time incident which involves life, we are not available.
Yeah. This reminds me of a I would say a COO, if I'm not wrong, or a VP from a previous organization. We were all having a fireside chat with them, and we had a small time where we could all connect with them at casual level. It wasn't any transactional conversation. And one thing that I carry with me even today from that leader is that we are all doing work. It has got nothing to do with life and death.
Yeah,
Unless it's life and death, take that break, take that leave, go to sleep.
I'll
So
add
yeah,
to I'll add to what you say. I had one of this is not I don't know which organization but I recall this sentence very well. There was an out of office message saying that if there is an emergency, please visit the nearby hospital. Rest all can rest all can wait till I come on Monday. Hope this addresses
okay.
the question. That's the
Oh,
out of
that's good.
office message. Will you
That's
contact that
good.
person? You will never contact that person.
Definitely no, but I would know before contacting that I don't want, it's not very urgent. I will evaluate.
So I have few takeaway pointers that I have noted based on the discussion that we have. Well-being has become an operating requirement today. That's what I
Yes.
start with. AI may increase speed and output, but sustainability performance still depends on human energy,
Humans?
concentration, emotional regulation, and recovery. That's the first point that I've noted. Second is
Yes.
technology can reduce burnout or intensify it, right?
Yes.
AI increases a well-being advantage only when time saving reduces friction,
Correct.
improves work design, and preserves human connections rather than simply increasing expectations. What we've
Absolutely.
seen is the expectation increases because the work is done. There can be more work done. So that's the challenge that we see. Consistency matters more than extreme health interventions. Now, realistic routines around movement, nutrition, sleep, recovery is what we spoke about are more valuable to work professionals than unsustainable transformation challenges, right? I'll run 10,000 steps in next 10 days and reduce 5 kgs. It's not possible.
Oh, that's not possible.
So
I
that's
mean, it's not, it is possible. It's not possible. It's just that it's unreasonable to yourself. You will
unreasonable and it cannot be
eventually, yeah.
sustained for a longer time as well, right? So that's the fourth point that I have is leaders must address the system, not only the individual. Well-being
Yes,
programs cannot compensate for excessive workloads, unclear roles. That's what we spoke about. Poor management and permanent availability cultures, right? Cultures that reward exhaustion are not going to work. That's the point that we want.
definitely not. Yeah,
Sustainability well-being strengthens business resilience. That's the fifth point. And healthier work systems can improve focus, judgment, trust, engagement, retention creation, a workflow capability of adapting to continuous technology challenge. This is what are
absolutely.
the five takeaway points that I had in mind while we had the conversation about 40, 50 minutes now, 55 minutes.
Awesome.
And with this, I have my pointers addressed. Any final pointers before we conclude, Shilpa?
Simple, I would say hydrate yourself, which is very important.
Yeah,
Take water, whoever I speak to, water, drink water every day. And even if you're not able to do exercise, walk for 15 to 20 minutes. Sleep, very important, 6 to 7 hours. Undisturbed sleep, which is hard to come by, but that is very important. Uh, you have to get that, the beauty sleep, you can call it, but that is very important. That helps everything. And emotional regulation, which is not leaving things unsaid, not leaving things just the way they are and, get triggered by it. So have that conversation, real hard conversations wherever required, because that is more important. That clears a lot of stuff. That gives you clarity to go about. So these four things and you'll be all set. Also,
wonderful.
one last thing, if I could say, uh, whatever systems you're building for yourself in order to incorporate all the four items I've told you. Do it in such a way where it survives even after 6 months, even your toughest day, the day that is very difficult for you to do, even a single bit of it. So build it for that. So it survives even after 6 months or 1 year.
Wonderful. Now, Shilpa, thank you for bringing a practical and relatable perspective to the subject that leaders can no longer dismiss as a personal or peripheral pointers. Your emphasis on preventive health and realistic fitness and sustainable routines reminds us that well-being is not about perfection. People talk about well-being being perfect, right? So it's not about that. It's about preserving the physical, mental, and emotional capacity required for making decisions, support people, and perform consistently. Many people think that if I am clear, that means I should be calm. Then I can be clear. That's the first point
Correct.
that you should be avoiding. Too many things running in your head, you will not get clarity. In a pressurized moment, you cannot have great decisions taken. Calm down yourself, talk to yourself, or to put a pause, and I think things will work, is what I feel. With that,
Absolutely.
we would like to conclude our session for the day. Thank you, Shilpa, for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
And the
Thank you.
audience, thank you for joining us today. With this, thank you and good day.
Good day.